When I woke up, I had somehow jumped 10 years into the future. My wife was still the same stunning, almost intimidating in how beautiful she was. Now a powerful CEO. At first it felt like the setup for one of those power fantasy stories. But right when I thought I was stepping into the perfect life, I found out the truth: our marriage was already falling apart. She had an old flame working in the shadows, pulling strings I didn't even see. My fantasy life had flipped into a miserable drama, and I was pissed. Then it hit me: stories like this usually end with the CEO wife giving you a huge settlement in the divorce. With that thought, I didn't feel as bad anymore. The guy she was tangled up with was a 28-year-old named Noah. But what did that have to do with me, an 18-year-old kid just living my life? My eyes blinked open to an unfamiliar hospital room. A woman sat across from me, legs crossed, lost in a book. I was completely confused. Just last night I was gaming all night with my friends at a LAN party. How the hell did I end up here? Was my only hope for answers. She was breathtaking hair, falling like a dark waterfall down her back, eyes clear as an autumn lake, but just as cold as frozen water. Miss ma'am? I said, trying to get her attention. She didn't answer. She only glanced up, giving me a quick, dismissive look before going back to her book. God, she was so gorgeous I almost had to stop myself from blurting out something ridiculous like asking her to adopt me. Where am I? One second I was pushing mid on Lotus, and the next I wake up here. What happened? I pushed again. She finally snapped, her voice sharp. Are you done? How long are you going to keep up this act? First you fake an illness, now you're faking amnesia. I don't have time for games. Her words cut like a blade. She grabbed her purse, stood up, and walked out, leaving me stunned, slowly. It started to click. I must have been dropped into the body of some pathetic loser from a trashy drama. I rushed to a mirror, desperate to see who I had become. My stomach dropped. It was me. The good news: I had time traveled into my future self. The bad news: my future self was the loser protagonist of a misery-drama. My mind spun, trying to figure out how things had gone this wrong. The first step was obviously I needed to find out what had happened over the last 10 years. I grabbed my phone. Thankfully, the passcode was still the same. The photo gallery was filled with pictures of that same woman. She was flawless, but the photos gave me no answers. Contacts list was crammed with names I didn't recognize until one jumped out. Ben Carter. My best friend from high school. The same guy who, just yesterday, was sitting beside me at the LAN party. I called. Him, he answered on the second ring. I can't explain over the phone. Just come here. Fast, I urged. He was a real one. Ben showed up in less than 30 minutes, and I was genuinely moved. So, let me get this straight, he said, looking at me like I'd lost my mind. You're telling me you're from the night we pulled that all-nighter after graduation? This isn't just some new stunt to win Tori back. I froze. Who the hell was this Tori? And how had she turned me into such a clown? My last memory, I shot back, is you baiting me every damn round? Don't push me, man. The irritation was still fresh, like I'd just left the game. Honestly, if he hadn't been such a terrible teammate, maybe I wouldn't have stayed up all night. And maybe I wouldn't be stuck in this nightmare now. Ben hesitated, then finally started filling me in on the last decade. After graduation, you got into Northwood University. That's where you met Victoria Van Story. You swore it was love at first sight. Honestly, I think you chased her for years. Why else would a girl like that fall for you? Northwood? I muttered. Since when were their standards that low? Did my dad donate them a library or something? I was stunned. Wait, if I got her, then shouldn't our relationship be solid? Because just a minute ago, she looked at me like she wanted me dead. Did I cheat on her? I asked. Ben hesitated, which already told me something was wrong. I pressed him, and what he said next floored me. It was like someone else had been living in my body for the last 10 years. I couldn't believe I'd turned into such a spineless mess. Apparently, I cooked Tori elaborate meals every single day. If she so much as hinted at wanting something, I'd drop everything at work just to run to her side. And if that wasn't pathetic enough, the moment her old flame came back into town, she made him vice president of her company. They went everywhere together, completely ignoring me. Hearing this made my blood boil. Back in high school, I was popular. I had girls. Chasing me? How the hell did I end up as some pitiful, cheated-on husband? Son of a... I'm done with her, I muttered. The fact that Ben thought I was still trying to win her back made me even angrier. She treats me like dirt, and I'm supposed to want her again. No way. I'm Noah Miller. I used to be a legend, handsome, confident, from a good family. How? Did I become a doormat? Well, you faked being sick just to get her to visit, and you caused a scene at her company, Ben said with a shrug. Honestly, I thought this amnesia thing was just another stunt of yours. The more I thought about how pathetic my life had become, the angrier I got. You got a smoke? I asked. He handed me one. I lit it, but the second the smoke hit my lungs, I doubled over in a violent coughing fit. What the hell? When can't I handle a light? You quit, Ben said. Tori hated the smell, so you gave it up. That only pissed me off more. I grabbed my jacket and stormed toward Tori's office, using the address Ben had given me. Tried to march right in, but a guard stepped in front of me. Double quotes, Mr. Miller, please, he said, looking nervous. Last time you caused a scene, Miss Vance docked our pay for a month. We can't let you through again. Don't make this harder. His desperate expression stopped me from pushing past. Instead, I pulled out my phone and tried calling Tori. Straight to voicemail. Just as I was about to try again, the guard suddenly straightened and said in unison, "Good morning, Mr. Croft." I turned and saw him, a man in a sharp-tailored suit. Handsome, but not more than me. "Looking for Tori?" he asked, his eyes cool, edged with contempt. "Come with me. I promise you won't pull a stunt like last time." "Don't worry," I said, dripping with sarcasm. "I'm just here to give you to my blessing." How pathetic was this? I needed her old flame's permission just to see my own wife. "You should watch your mouth, Miller," Julian Croft snapped, frowning. "If I hadn't gone abroad back then, the title of Tori's husband never would have been yours." "Then why did you run off abroad?" I shot back. "Running away from something." "I'm not like you. When I love someone, I don't just run." Thank God I'd grilled Ben about this Julian guy beforehand, or I would have been at a disadvantage. From what Ben told me, Julian and Tori were childhood sweethearts. They were supposed to attend Northwood together, but he bailed and went overseas instead. The tension was thick as the elevator climbed to Tori's office. I didn't wait for an invitation. I shoved the door open and walked in. "How many times have I told you to knock?" Tori snapped. But when she looked up and saw me, her anger faltered for a split second before her frown returned. "Didn't I tell you not to bother me during work hours?" I steadied myself. "Tori, I've thought it through. Let's stop torturing each other. Let's get a divorce." "So you're not faking amnesia anymore? Aren't you just claiming you didn't know me? And for the record, you're the one who's been torturing me." Then it hit her. "Divorce, Noah. You want to divorce me?" The faint smirk she'd been wearing froze. Her beautiful eyes widened as she stared at me. Believe it or not, I really did lose my memory. "But don't worry, I won't bother you anymore," I said with a sigh. My past self had been such a pathetic fool that I had to tread carefully now. But what confused me most was this: why didn't she look happy? I was the one asking for a divorce. So why did her face look like I'd just pulled the ground out from under her? She pushed Julian away. He'd been shamelessly eavesdropping at the door, and stormed straight toward me. Her presence alone was enough to make my chest tighten. At the end of the day, I was still just a kid fresh out of high school, and standing against someone like Tori Vance, a corporate powerhouse, was terrifying. "You want a divorce? Fine, you leave with nothing," she snapped, her eyes sharp enough to cut through me. For a second I swore she could have had me erased from existence if she wanted to. Her power was overwhelming, but the thought of leaving with nothing was a deal breaker. I was only 18, no skills, no backup plan. I needed that settlement to survive. "Are you serious? You're the one who cheated? And now you're telling me I walk away with zero? That can't even be legal?" My voice cracked with anger. "Your choice. Leave with nothing, or we stay married. Decide." She said it flatly, turned, and walked out, leaving me fuming in her office. If I didn't need the money so badly, I would have agreed just to spite her. But my brilliant get-rich-quick plan had died before it even started. Back in the hospital, Ben and I just stared at each other. Seriously, how do I divorce her and still get a payout? None of this makes sense. I got into Northwood. I'm supposed to be smart. How the hell did I not save a single dime in 10 years? I can't even cover my hospital bill, I groaned. Anyway, Venmo me $50, I'm craving KFC. Ben just shook his head. Because she has your debit card. After you two graduated, she wanted to start her own business. You got a job, and every paycheck went to her dream. You're a total sucker, man. Oh my God, she's a monster. That broke me. I ranted about Tori for 2 straight hours, pacing like a madman, but then I noticed Ben's face freeze. What? Why are you looking like that? She's insane. If you don't love someone, just divorce them. Why torture me? What do I owe her? Say something, man. Turned damned. There she was. Tori standing there, eyes sharp enough to kill. My blood turned cold. If I had even a sliver of hope before, it was gone now. Forget leaving with nothing, she was about to take everything I didn't even have. You. What are you doing here? I stammered, all my fake bravado gone. I wasn't talking about you. I'm taking you home, she said coldly. Or do you have somewhere else to stay? I hated the iciness in her voice, but caught red-handed. I had no choice but to follow her. The car ride was brutal, completely silent. I just stared out the window, the air so heavy it hurt. Finally, I broke. Can you at least tell me how we got married? Tori flinched. For a second, her face softened, then tightened again. So you really did lose your memory? I don't know what it is. Amnesia? Time travel? All I know is yesterday, I was a teenager about to dye my hair, pull an all-nighter, and take a road trip. Now I'm a middle-aged guy who's been your doormat for a decade. She stayed quiet for a long time, then finally spoke, softer than before. We were happy at first. You'd always have dinner waiting when I came home. I'd look forward to it all day, just curling up with you on the couch. We didn't have much, but we had each other. It was enough. Her voice trembled slightly, and I swore her eyes shimmered. My chest tightened without warning. And then you cheated on me? I asked carefully. Of course not. She glared at me before continuing. Shh. But somewhere along the line, you changed. You became paranoid, suspicious. If I came home late, you'd accuse me of being with someone else. The fights kept piling up. It only got worse when Julian came back. She paused, her tone heavy. It was exhausting. But that's all in the past now. Since you've lost your memory, maybe we can start over. That was the last thing I expected. I thought we were trapped in some loveless arranged marriage. I never thought there had been any real feelings between us. Remembering how cold she was when I first woke up, I actually felt a little sorry for my future self. Her story didn't match what Ben had told me, and I honestly didn't know who to believe. But when Tori suggested we could start over, part of me was tempted. Still, I couldn't understand why I would have become so insecure and paranoid. At 18, I wasn't like that at all. That only made me more curious about what had really happened during those missing 10 years. By the time I was lost in thought, we had already pulled up to our home. It was massive, way bigger than anything I could have imagined at 18. The place was sleek and minimalist, but artistic too. I had to admit it was my style. Nice taste, I thought, silently congratulating myself. I sat down on a ridiculously expensive-looking sofa, and a wave of surrealism hit me. The keypad code is 0309, Tori said. If you've forgotten anything else, just ask me now. What's the date for? I asked, searching my memory but coming up blank. Our wedding anniversary, she replied. Then, in a tone that clearly meant the conversation was over, she added, It's late. You should get some rest. Later that night, I was about to find a guest room when Tori pulled me straight into the master bedroom. Over, there's no need to sleep in separate rooms, she said firmly, leaving no space for argument. I never said I wanted to start over, I muttered. My 18-year-old self had no idea how to deal with this kind of situation. I gave in. The sound of the shower filled the room, echoing the frantic beating of my heart. I couldn't think straight. A few minutes later, I felt her against me. She wrapped her arms around me and kissed me a kiss that was part passion, part desperation. That night, tangled in her embrace, I finally understood why my past self had been so hopelessly devoted to her. This woman was dangerous, like a succubus. After that, life with Tori felt different. There was no sign of her old flame, and I started to believe maybe Ben had exaggerated out of jealousy. Tori was everything I thought I wanted, cool on the outside, but with a hidden warmth. But Wait wasn't. My type, always the sweet, gentle kind of girl. Either way, things were good. For the first time, I started to understand my past self. I realized I was already falling for Tori, but just when happiness felt close, the cracks began to show. One day, Tori asked me to go with her to a corporate gala. The thought of being surrounded by strangers I was supposed to know made me anxious. I didn't want to embarrass her, so I said no, and instead grabbed a few beers with Ben at a barbecue joint. Dude, really committing to this act, Ben said, giving me a thumbs up. But hey, it's genius. You and Tori are basically on a second honeymoon. I flipped him the bird. It's not an act. I really don't remember anything. But honestly, it doesn't matter anymore. I get why I liked her. I'm happy now. The only thing I don't get is why I was supposedly so paranoid before. You sure you didn't just make that up? Maybe you're jealous of me. Ben shot me a look. Julian came back and Tori immediately made him VP of her company. That's not normal, man. You're just jealous, I snapped back. But his words planted a seed of doubt. Ben opened his mouth, like he wanted to say something more, but then stayed quiet. A few beers later, I realized it was late and decided to pick Tori up from the gala. But what I saw at the entrance burned itself into my memory forever. Tori stumbled out, looking unsteady, and a man in a tailored suit was holding her up. It was Julian. In an instant, the blood in my veins turned to ice. Fueled by alcohol and rage, I stormed over and punched him square in the face. He hit the ground hard. I was ready to go at him again when Tori shoved me away and ran straight to his side. Noah, are you insane? Why would you hit him? She shouted, her face red with anger. She turned back to Julian in concern. Are you okay? I'm fine, Julian said, his voice dripping with fake sincerity. Noah probably just misunderstood. Don't be mad at him. The way he played innocent made me want to tear him apart. Before I could respond, Tori snapped, Noah, apologize. To Julian right now, he was kind enough to be my date tonight, and you attack him? What's wrong with you? That was it. Exploded. Are you blind, Tori? Can't you see how fake he is? You go to a party with your ex, cozy up with him, and I, your husband, don't have the right to be angry. I couldn't take it anymore. I turned and walked away without looking back at the two of them. I was furious. I didn't go home. I checked into a random hotel, collapsed on the bed, and let my thoughts spiral. Earlier, I'd been too blinded by that fragile bubble of happiness. But now a serious question hit me. I, Noah Miller, was never paranoid. Maybe a little possessive, sure, but insecure. No, how had I turned into the suspicious, broken man Tori described? I told myself I'd talk to her in the morning and get the full story of those missing 10 years. Eventually, the alcohol dragged me into a restless sleep. Dreams of Tori flickered through my head, her angry words echoing over and over. The next morning, I woke early, showered, and headed back to the house, ready to confront her. But I never expected what was waiting. As I walked up to the front door, I saw Julian Croft. He smirked at me like he owned the place, then brushed past and let himself inside as if he lived there. Tori, I'm back, he called cheerfully. I grabbed your files from the office. You probably haven't eaten yet, so I brought breakfast. Come on, let's eat. He went straight to her, took her arm, and started guiding her toward the dining table, ignoring me completely. I stepped forward, pulled her arm away gently. How did you even get in? Oh, I just tried my birthday on a whim, Julian said with a smug grin, and it worked. You're still so sentimental. His boast hit me like a lightning strike. Tori had told me the code was our wedding anniversary. Was that a lie? Had it always been Julian's birthday? Why would she deceive me like that? Was she still clinging to this manipulative bastard? I snatched the folder from his hand. Tori's face went pale as she tried to grab it back, but I was faster. I opened it. At divorce papers. Any hope I'd been holding on to vanished instantly. We had fought just last night. There was no way she'd drawn these up overnight. They'd been prepared long ago. It all made sense. She'd been planning to leave me all along. My amnesia wasn't a fresh start. It was just a delay, stay of execution. A sharp pain stabbed through my chest. I felt like the biggest fool alive. Fate had handed me a second chance, and I walked straight back into the same trap, letting her play me again. I turned to leave, but Tori grabbed my arm. Don't go, my voice cracked with anger. You want me to stand here and watch you to rub it in my face? She flinched at my tone, pulling her hand back. I tried to breathe, tried to stay calm. Tori, I was willing to start over because I trusted the part of me that once fell for you. But what did you do? You set our home passcode to your ex's birthday, and you dare call me paranoid. Did it ever cross your mind that maybe I became paranoid because you never gave me a reason to feel secure? I shook my head. Fine, I'm done. He's all yours. No, it's not what you think. Let me explain. I signed the papers, tossed them to the floor, and walked out without looking back. Whatever she yelled, whether at me or Julie and I didn't care. All I wanted was distance. That night I couldn't sleep. 28-year-old me had already suffered this heartbreak. And now my 18-year-old self was being forced to live it all over again. Maybe I really owed her some cruel debt in a past life. Scrolling my phone, I saw Julian's latest Instagram post. Picture of 2 plane tickets. Caption, just the 2 of us. I blocked them both on the spot, shaking with rage. I ended up crashing at Ben's place. Whoa, what happened? He asked, glancing away from the TV. Yesterday, you were all about fixing things with her. And today, you're divorced? If you don't have anything useful to say, I can help you shut up, I muttered. How was I supposed to know she was playing me this whole time? Told you, man, Ben said, shaking his head. But you never listen? 18 or 20 a tour, still a sucker when it comes to her. That idiot was going to die alone. At least my younger self still had some fight left. With my degree from Northwood, I landed a decent job. Ben and I slipped into a routine work. During the day, grind Valhalla ops at night. Stay up till 3 a.m. trash-talking strangers on Discord for the first time in a long while. It felt like the life I had always wanted. I was finally free from the chains of the past decade living. Only for the present and the future. I thought this peace would last, but less than a month later, my past came knocking. When I opened the front door, Tori was standing there. She looked pale, her eyes red and swollen like she hadn't slept in days. What do you want? The divorce waiting period isn't even over, I said coldly. I've been counting 7 more days. I never agreed to a divorce, she whispered. I let out a bitter laugh. You didn't agree? Then why did you have the papers drawn up for fun? She ignored my sarcasm, her eyes locked onto mine as if she was trying to read my soul. I think there's been a misunderstanding. We need to talk. Really talk. Please. I just got back from a business trip and I'm exhausted. Can you just come home with me? I thought of Julian's Instagram post and sneered. A business trip or a romantic getaway for 2? Then another thought hit me. Wait, you didn't sign the papers, did you? Did you make me wait? Whole month for nothing? Her silence and the tears pooling in her eyes told me everything. My resolve cracked. Against my better judgment, I agreed to hear her out one last time. We went back to the house. It felt familiar, but I wasn't. Nostalgic. There was nothing here for me to miss. The password was still the same. I cursed under my breath. Okay, what do you want to talk about? I asked, sprawling back on the sofa like I owned the place. Tori, however, sat perfectly straight, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Her voice trembled. That night, I only asked Julian to the gala because you didn't want to go, and I had a little too much to drink. That's why he was helping me walk. The door code really is our wedding anniversary. It's just a coincidence. It's also his birthday, honestly forgot. He and I grew up together. Our families are close. That's why I made him VP. We please not fight over such small things, over people who don't matter. I found it laughable, lighting a cigarette. I watched her flinch but stay silent. Small things? You think these are small things? Tori, you think he doesn't matter because you've never really tried to understand me. Have you ever put yourself in my shoes? You think Julian doesn't matter? The fact that you chose him over me that night proves I'm the one who doesn't matter. Tori, she started, but I raised my hand to cut her off. Let me finish. As my wife, you never truly knew me. You never gave anything, and you never saw what I gave. For example, you don't even know I quit smoking for 10 years for you. I held up the half-burned cigarette. But none of it matters now. Fate gave me a second chance, and I don't want to waste it being tangled up with you again. After losing my memory, I realized I was turning into someone I didn't even recognize, someone I didn't like. I can't let that happen. I have to be myself again. So let's just let each other go. At some point during my speech, tears had begun streaming down her face. I pulled a tissue from the box and handed it to her. A familiar pang of hurt stabbed through me. Letting go was so much harder than saying it. Think about it, I said softly. Then I walked out of the house that once felt like home but now felt like it belonged to strangers. After that talk, Tori disappeared for a few days, and my life slipped back into its rhythm. Did you hear? Your wife fired her old flame. You think she's trying to win you back? Ben burst into my apartment, grinning with gossip. I was surprised. For a moment, I almost felt bad for the manipulative snake. But then I remembered his words, his Instagram posts, and I figured he got exactly what he deserved. That night, I went with Ben to our high school reunion. It was surreal. Kids I remembered stressing over SATs were now tired, world-weary adults, schmoozing and networking. Honestly, it was depressing. To my surprise, Leah Evans, our class president and valedictorian, was there. I owed her without her help, I never would have gotten into Northwood. Leah, you look amazing. How come you never call? I teased. She shot me a playful look. Look who's talking. Ever since you got married, you dropped off the face of the earth. Did the wife finally let you off your leash tonight? What? We're getting divorced, actually, I said with a self-deprecating laugh. Her expression softened into sympathy. Behind it, I could swear I saw something else. Maybe relief. As the night went on, and the drinks kept flowing, someone suggested karaoke. I was about to make my excuses when, to my surprise, Leah said she was leaving too. We walked together for a while. Other than Ben, Leah was the only person from my past I had reconnected with since the amnesia. So naturally, there was a lot to talk about. You always seem so devoted to your wife. What happened? Did she ask for the divorce? Trying to sound casual, the way she kept nervously playing with the hem of her shirt gave her away. Her question irritated me. Why did everyone assume I was the pathetic one? Couldn't I have been the one to ask for it? I just realized that in trying to make her happy, I completely lost myself, I answered. Leah nodded, as if she understood. I know what you mean. After you got married, you became so... meek. I barely recognized you. But tonight, you seem like the guy I remember from 10 years ago. A little reckless, maybe, but confident and full of life. I'll take that as a compliment, I said with a small smile. When we reached the entrance of my apartment building, I decided to be honest with her. Look, the truth is, I have amnesia. My memory stops right after high school graduation. So, seriously, thank you. Without you, I never would have gotten into Northwood. Leah's eyes widened, something unreadable flickering in them. So... Do you still love Tori? She asked suddenly. Her question caught me off guard. I wanted to say no, but the words stuck in my throat. Tori's tear-streaked face from the other night flashed through my mind, and I couldn't bring myself to lie. I was about to say goodnight when Leah suddenly stepped forward and wrapped her arms around me. I froze, not knowing what to do. Then I heard her whisper in my ear, "If you two really get divorced, give me a chance. I've waited a long time for you." Before I could respond, she pulled back, gave me a quick wave, and walked away without Looking back, I walked into the lobby, still trying to process what just happened, when suddenly a shadow lunged at me. Arms wrapped tightly around me, knocking the wind out of my chest. Then I heard Tori's trembling voice. "Who was that woman?" "No." I hardened my heart. "What's it to you?" The light in her eyes dimmed. Then she suddenly kissed me, a frantic, desperate kiss, as if she wanted to consume me. It was overwhelming. I pushed her away. "Are you crazy?" "Noah, I'm jealous," she whispered. And just like that, I felt myself slipping. "She's a friend from high school," I said, my voice softening. She tutored me. "I wouldn't have gotten into Northwood without her. I never would have met you." Tori finally relaxed. She hugged me again, gentler this time, and whispered in my ear, "Husband, I've been thinking a lot these past few days. I know I was wrong, so wrong, but I can't live without you. Please give me one more chance." I fired Julian. "Just found out about the things he was doing behind my back. I swear, that Instagram post was fake. You're the only one I want. Promise he'll never come between us again." It would be a lie to say I wasn't moved. Seeing her so vulnerable, so desperate, was almost impossible to resist. But the scars she left ran deep. I was afraid to let myself hope. "Tori, you still don't get it," I said, exhausted.
Oh.
"Problem was never just Julian. It was your coldness, your distrust, and the pathetic, spineless man I became just to please you." She went silent. "We were both wrong," I continued. "But I don't want to keep making the same mistakes. I want to be me again." Later that night, after she left, I lay awake in bed. I wanted so badly to believe she had never cheated on me. ... But I couldn't accept the person I had become. My mind was a blur of her tearful face. Then I noticed a message on my phone, from an unexpected sender. He wanted to meet at a restaurant across from Tori's office. "All right, what do you want?" I asked as I sat across from Julian Croft. I had no idea what we could possibly have to talk about, Noah, ... "I never thought much of you," he started. "He just swooped in while I was gone. Could never compare to the history. Tori and I share, so what's your point? Are you trying to brag?" I shot back, my patience wearing thin. A guy who's already been kicked out of the game has no right to look down on the players. This guy was unbelievable, but then he surprised me. "I was wrong," he admitted, his arrogance gone. "I tried everything to push your buttons, to make you paranoid. Yeah, but I underestimated how much Tori loves you. Never once took my side, never accepted my comfort. And when she saw that one Instagram post, she fired me without hesitation. She didn't care about our family ties. It's what you get," I said coldly. "If you'd fought for her fair and square, I might have respected you. Just a snake who plays dirty tricks." I pushed my chair back and stood up. "If that's all you wanted to say, I'm leaving." Julian's hand shot out and grabbed my arm. His expression had changed. There was no arrogance left, just something close to pleading. "I know how much she loves you. We grew up together, and no matter how I felt, she's always been like a sister to me. I want her to be happy. So if you still love her, stop torturing her, and if you don't, then let her go." I walked out of the restaurant in a daze, my thoughts spinning. Did I love Tori? The answer hit me like a punch, yes. I had just been blinded by resentment toward the weak, pathetic version of myself I used to be. In the end, it wasn't that I didn't love her. It was just my pride. Lost in thought, I noticed her across the street. Tori's eyes lit up the moment she saw me. She probably thought I had come there for her. Started running toward me. Then I saw it. Car barreling down the road way too fast. My mind went blank. No time to think, only to act. I sprinted forward, using every ounce of strength to shove her out of the way. And in the split second before impact, a strange calm settled over me. This is fine, I thought. At least this way the conflict is over. When I opened my eyes again, I was in a hospital bed. First thought, I must have a damn lucky star. Second, Tori, asleep in the chair beside me. Her head rested against the mattress, her hands still wrapped tightly around mine. Somehow I had survived. But more than that, everything came back. Every memory from the last 10 years hit me all at once, like a movie reel playing in my mind. I saw Tori building her company, exhausted but still smiling the moment she walked through the door and saw me. And just like that, the shame I'd carried, the weakness, the humiliation melted away. Maybe I hadn't been weak. Maybe my sacrifices hadn't been meaningless. Looking at her tired face, I felt something I hadn't in years, pure protectiveness. And for the first time, I realized the man I wanted to be was simply me. Whether it was the cocky 18 or the so-called pathetic 28-year-old. One thing had always been true. I loved Tori. I tried to slip my hand out from hers, but the slight movement woke her. Her eyes fluttered open, locking with mine. Without saying a word, I reached up, cupped her chin, and pulled her into a kiss. For a second, she froze, shocked. Then she melted into it, kissing me back with the same fire. Under her care, I recovered quickly. Before long, I was ready to be discharged. But instead of driving me home, Tori took me straight to the county courthouse. "What's this about?" I asked, half smiling. "When you were in surgery," she said quietly, "I made a promise. I prayed that if you lived, I would give you anything you wanted, David. A divorce." I pulled her close. "But what if I don't want a divorce anymore?" Her voice broke. "I was such a terrible wife. I want to start over. Properly this time." I chuckled softly. What can I say? A man's got to spoil his own wife. We walked out of the courthouse hand in hand. A clerk nearby whispered that they'd never seen a couple look so happy about getting divorced. We just glanced at each other and laughed. "This time," Tori said, her eyes sparkling, "it's my turn to chase you, Noah Miller, and I'll love you for the rest of my life." For the first time in a long while, I believed her.